Also, we got some new tech. Had a family member give me some old equipment, so we're just gonna see how it works. I got a little microphone. This is probably so loud on the microphone, but got a microphone. We'll see if it's worth it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. They gave it to me. They said they used to use it, and they got a better one now. So this is their old one, I guess. All right, we've got this is Trig. Sweet. Welcome to Unit 2. And we're going to be talking about all 6 trig functions. Now, if that sounds really complicated, you already are masters of 3 trig functions. What are the 3 trig functions that you know like the back of your hand? Right, we got sine, we got cosine, and we got tangent. Everybody feel good about those 3? Yeah. And we know that sine, cosine, tangent, we often use SOHCAHTOA, and the point of SOHCAHTOA is that it helps us out with these little fractions. Sometimes they're called ratios. What these represent on a nice right triangle. Sine, of course, opposite over hypotenuse. Then we've got adjacent hypotenuse. And then we've got opposite adjacent. All of this is review. What we're going to add today, I would say, is about an extra 20%. So this is going to be 80% of what you need today. We're going to add just a little bit more. Okay? We're going to add 3 new. We got SOHCAHTOA, sine, cosine, tangent, but there's actually 6. And these other ones are cosecant. We ever heard of cosecant before? Well, here we go. Welcome to Trig. We got cosecant. Now, it is a co in the same way that we have cosine, right? So that is a pattern, cosine, cosecant. Now, since we have a cosine that comes with a regular sine, guess what one of our other is? That's 200 IQ. No. Look, cosine, cover up the co, you get sine, because sine is over here. There we go. Cover up the co, we also are going to have the secant. The secant and the cosecant. And there's one more also that you could probably guess. You're very close. All of them have pairs except for which one? Sine and cosine, secant and cosecant, tangent and... All right, we might be really bad at patterns.
It is really bad.
Cotangent, right? Cosine and cosecant and cotangent. Just CO tangent. All right. Now, we can do this. We can do this. These all have fractions. And you gotta learn these. Okay. We've already used O with H. We've already used A with H. We've already used O with A. We got some flips going on here. Now, where they are flipped is really what you need to memorize. So this is what we're trying to do. Sine, kind of randomly, is kind of partnered up with cosecant. Cosecant is H over O. I know that seems like a random match. It kind of is, but that is how they work together. Cosine is AH. What do you think secant is? H over A. Or I guess I've been doing lowercase a's, so let's keep that going. That's ugly. Let's try again. And then we've got cotangent, which is going to be, right? You guys get it. You need to memorize these things. Like you just have to memorize them. The good news is it's really not that much to memorize, right? It's the same 3 letters. They're just in a little bit different positions. What we're going to do now, I'm going to move this all away. I would recommend maybe don't look at your paper too much here. We've got sine of theta. We've got cosine of theta. And we've got tangent of theta. And we have these memorized, right? O over H, A over H, O over A. And I know, Mr. Carl, we just wrote this down. We didn't write down up there is the shortened 3-letter abbreviation for these, because nobody wants to write out cosecant. So surely there's some sort of abbreviation. Does anybody want to guess any of the abbreviations for cosecant, cotangent, cosine, cosecant, regular secant? SEC, I know a lot of people were trying. That was one I heard. SEC is correct. SEC is secant. And all that you're required to memorize is that cosine matches with secant, which again is a little bit random, but that's just how it works. That's going to be H over A. I heard some other ones. I think I heard some correct ones. Anybody got a guess for the abbreviation for cosecant?
COT.
So that would be cotangent.
Oh, really?
COT is correct. Because that's cotangent. That's going to be A over O. And now we've got cosecant. We definitely need a C at the start.
Yeah. CSE.
CSC is what it's going to be. This one has no vowels in it, actually. It's cosecant. Cosecant. CSC. And that, of course, we've already learned this, is going to be H over O. So these are your 6, and you have to memorize these. These are not given to you, but again, they all just kind of fall into place as long as you memorize and set them up like this. Sine is matched up with cosecant. Cosine is matched up with regular secant, and tangent is matched up with cotangent. As far as giving you guys advice for how to memorize this, we know that sine and cosine, normally we write them like this. For every piece of paper I've given you all year, it goes sine, cosine, tangent. Tangent matches up with cotangent, and then these two, cosine does not match with cosecant. And if you can just remember that, you know tangent and cotangent are going to work. You know secant and cosecant, I don't know which one goes which, but unfortunately, some teachers like to say no coco. No cosine, no cosecant. They do not match together. It's cosine and regular secant. All right.
What was the thing about that?
The same exact thing. So let's say now we've gone over this. What point is this? Well, what is the use that we have here? When you see a question, it'll likely be a triangle, very similar to what we've done before. It'll say, you know, this right here is theta. That just kind of means that's where we're standing. It'll be numbers all around, like let's do one of our Pythagorean triples. 5, 12, 13. Very good, sure. And it would just ask you a question like, what is the cotangent of theta? And all you got to do is remember, cotangent matches up with which other function, and then put it upside down. Cotangent matches up with regular tangent, and the regular tangent would be 12 over 5. So the cotangent, whoop, 5 over 12. And as far as learning new things in a math class, this is pretty easy. This is pretty easy. Any questions about where that came from? All right, I'm going to move on. Again, I'm not going to talk too much longer here. You might also see a question that looks like this. Sine of theta is equal to, let's do 15 over 17. What is secant theta? So, we're not getting the whole triangle drawn for us. We need to figure out secant theta. Secant theta is the upside down of something. If it's the upside down of sine, we can just whoop, flip it upside down. But is secant the upside down of sine? No, it is not. Bummer. It is not. Which means we're missing something, right? Because these two are not going to do it for us. Whenever you get a question like this, most of the time, you've got to kind of finish the triangle on your own. The sine is opposite and hypotenuse. So let's fill that in. Opposite and hypotenuse. Now, what would this bottom side be? Well, we can use Pythagorean theorem because we've got two of the sides. This is also a perfect triple. It is, oh, it is 8. It is 8. And so now, and then we just did Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, we figured out the full triangle. Now we can figure out secant. Secant is the upside down of cosine. Cosine would be 8 over 17. Flip it. 17 over 8. So if you're not given a triangle, finish the triangle. We've talked plenty about ways to get the rest of your triangle figured out. Let me make sure that you are prepared. Woo! Thank you. Okay. There's only one more thing to do. And that is, eventually, please, here we go. That is, what about the secant of 70 degrees? What is the secant of 70? With our calculator, can we calculate the sine, the cosine, the tangent? Of course, of course. But how do we get the secant? How do we get the secant? Now, one thing you might think is, oh, secant is the upside down of cosine. So that means we can maybe do the second cosine, but that's not right. That's not how that works, right? The second cosine is how you find angles if you're given the sides, but that's not how this works. So we're not going to use second cosine. I look all over my whole calculator, and I don't see it anywhere. Okay, I can even look for some funky, if I press the math button, sometimes they got some funky stuff in there. I don't see it in there. And if you want to be really fancy, you can press second 0. And second 0 is going to take you to the catalog, aka every single thing the calculator can do is listed in the calculator. And I can scroll down and all the way to the S, or I can press the LN button. Anyways, secant's not in there. There's no secant button on the calculator. So how the heck can this super mega computer not be able to calculate the secant? Well, here's what's up. The secant is just the upside down cosine. So we should be able to just start with maybe the cosine. What is the cosine of 70? Right, kind of weird. 0.342. That's because this is supposed to be the fraction of the ratio. It's weird. Maybe we can try math frac, but it doesn't really work. Now this, oh shoot, not how I should have wrote this, sorry. Remember, this is not the secant. This is the cosine of 70. Now, if this is supposed to be the upside down of what we want, then 0.342 divided by 1 upside down is what we actually want, because we want the upside down fraction of the cosine. Long story short, if you want to use the calculator to solve for these exact angles, you can press, 1 divided by, I would suggest you do alpha y equals enter 1 over cosine of 70. .924. We'll do 3 decimal places. Who cares? All right. I think my pacing was a little bit strange there as I explained that. Basically, secant's the upside down of cosine, so we're just going to make a little fraction with 1 over. So let's do a question, and we'll show you how easy and how quick it is. If I wanted to know what is the cotangent of 32 degrees, instead of typing tangent 32, it needs to be the upside down of that. So I'm going to type instead 1 over tangent 32. I like to use alpha y equals, so I'll like to press alpha y equals enter 1 over tangent 32, enter. Make sure I'm in degree mode, and I got 1.6. Cool? Again, it's not really all that much to learn. You need to learn how to do this, which is just 1 divided by that. And then you need to learn how these, let me see. You need to memorize this. Which one matches up with which? Sine, cosecant. Cosine, regular secant. Tangent, cotangent. Cool. That is all 6 trig functions.